You bit your tongue excitedly as the lockpick clicked inside the door's mechanism. Your heart raced. This was the first time you ever did something like this. And even if what would come later would not be fruitful, at least you would have something to show for. To show your undying devotion to the cultist master. Maybe there was going to be a promotion in there. Yes, maybe you would no longer be a mere sister, but a priestess. Priestess Hildegard. Not your real name, but your master insisted you'd get a nickname, like most members of the cult. Interestingly enough, you're about to be retrieving something from a member whose real name was actually used, rather than the nick one. Huh. Made you wonder how that rule actually worked. Click. Your heart stopped a beat as your eyes widened. Sweat pouring down your forehead. You were wearing the red cultist robe, hood pulled down as far as it could go, face covered by a red surgical mask. Yes, you were low in the organization. So what? You got up on your feet, gulping and taking a step into the darkness of cold storage. Giddy, your gloved fingers danced across the metal doors, leading to whoever was behind them. Jeremy Fitzgerald, Mike Schmidt. You read the names out loud. Henry Emily. Didn't my dad go to school with that guy? I wonder what happened. Your neutral expression, however, turned to glee. Bob Wellsap. Perfect. Your hands shaking, you took hold of the door handle. Your heart almost couldn't take it. You had never seen a corpse before. This was so exciting. You were screaming inside your car, laughing, crying, tears coming out of your eyes, unsure out of joy or anxiety. Music blaring from your radio as you tried to calm your nerves. Almost robotically you were driving, completely and utterly irrational and unhinged. Behind you, hidden under a big blanket, was the still cold and preserved body of none other than the Devil Butcher. Your fingernails dug into the fake leather of your steering wheel. This was crazy. You were crazy. This had to work, or else this might break you. But even if it didn't, how in the seven hells did you even manage to get this far? And then, blue and red lights shined through your mirror. You stopped near the road, with your feet jumping up and down before the gas pedal. You lowered the window, the sheriff approaching you. His mustache wiggled from left to right as he looked into your eyes and car. "Hey there," he said calmly, as he stared at your pale face. Thank God you had taken off your cold attire before sitting down in the car. But what should you have done? "Late for this loud of music, ain't it?" This is my favorite song. I lost a bit of self-control there. Was I driving weird? I think I wasn't. What's the problem, officer? "Well, I wanted to inform you that to keep the peace around here, you keep that thing quieter, got it? 'Tis a quiet neighborhood." You nodded, almost a little too aggressively. "Alright." He then shined his flashlight through your windows. "Who's hiding over there, eh?" "Oh, that's my boyfriend. He drank too much. He, needs to sleep." Please don't wake him up. I see. Well, you return to your window. Turn down the volume and have a safe night then. How the hell did that work? Your heart rate had reached new heights. After the police officer, you must have been at least 10 years older from the stress alone. When was the last time you felt like this? Oh yeah, maybe during high school finals. That you completely and utterly failed. Or maybe every goddamn job interview that you had flunked since then. No exceptions. All of them. You technically still didn't have a job. You completely relied on the generosity of the cult. Or that one time when you had just managed to convince your mother to go to the dentist with you, who then wanted you to return a week later so he could discuss something worryingly building up behind your teeth. Which you did go to. Because you would have gone alone. You could do that. It was already hard enough to convince your mother for the first time. Eyes twitching, you stopped at the first staircase leading into the crypt of the abandoned church the cult often used for rituals. Bob in your arms. He was really heavy, and you were sweating profusely. Scared, you looked left and right, making sure no one was watching you, before pushing the body down the stairs. You cringed at every bone-breaking noise and soft, wet thud, before quickly descending yourself. The sack of meat that was the punished body of Bob Wellsap was then once again carried to the altar that just a few weeks ago bore witness to a summoning ritual for a spider demon that so utterly failed it left many cult members with arachnophobia, and your cult master saying, "Well, it appears that this incantation is not good. Same time next week?" You neatly sprawled out Bob on the rock altar before skittering to the incantation podium, realizing you forgot your heavy incantation book. You blinked, tapping your fingers on the wood like you were waiting for it to be delivered to you. In actuality, you were thinking. Your anxiety was telling you to just get over with, to feel the release of being done with it. But the perfectionist in you refused. The voices were getting to you. Slamming your arms on the podium, you hit your head repeatedly onto the wood, until a small line of blood flowed from your scalp. No. You had to do this now. Bob's body was getting warm, and who knows if he was already rotten too much. With quivering lips, you rushed towards the crate of colored candles. Were it red ones? No. Maybe you needed black ones. You suddenly furrowed your brows. Wait, were those pink aphrodisiac candles? Blinking and blushing, you made one accidentally vanish into your pocket for later. To come down with. Yes, totally just to come down with. Your hand took a firm grasp on 3 beautiful, unused red candles. Those should definitely do the trick. You returned to Bob's side, quickly shoving the candles into 3 holes on the table for candle use. Lighting them, the red flame illuminated the crypt ominously. Afterwards, you used a box cutter to drop your own fresh blood into his open wounds, and wherever bones were picking out of his skin. It left you a little lightheaded. You then turned to the light switch, turning off the singular light bulb that had given the room the light it so desperately needed. Your breath hitched as you skittered to the podium, almost knocking over a loose skull on the ground. Your hands took firm grasp of the podium's edges before you began reciting the incantation to the best of your ability. However, as you reached the final sentence, you started violently coughing from a bit of dust that had made its way down your throat, as you had inhaled in the wrong moment. The coughing fit was so bad you fell to the ground, reeling, even barfing out your dinner from earlier on the sacred stone ground. If people could die from shame, this would have been the moment you would have. Shivering, with the taste of vomit in your mouth, you stood up, approaching Bob and putting your hand in his lifeless palm, sighing. You have had a good plan. It somehow worked up until now, but you flunked it in the end. Sorry, Brother Bobby. I failed. I really... Bob! You coughed, as the hand had suddenly jumped to life, closing itself around your throat so tight you thought you'd pass out immediately. The hand's fingers kneaded into the flesh of your neck, like they were trying to tune a guitar. As Bob Wellsap rose from the table, continuing to choke you, he put his free hand under his chin, making a confused hum. Huh. He looked around as you continued to squirm in his grasp. Oh, I know this place. He tipped against his chin with a finger. Ah. He finally looked at you. His eyes still looked a bit milky, and his skin was ice cold. Well, aren't you a nice appetizer for breakfast? You managed to somehow shook your head, and he tilted his. Little morsel, you're not my appetizer. Whoever brought me back must have had an inkling of an idea of the type of hunger I must feel right now. His grip tightened, and it felt as if your eyes would pop out any minute. Bob then shrugged and dropped you on the ground like a discarded tissue. The first breath into your lungs was incredibly painful, an eruption of Zavia bursting out of your mouth as you coughed and fell forward. You were twitching on the dusty ground like the pathetic pig that you were. Bob got up on his feet, looking down at all the scars he had now. He wiped over his stomach, realizing his organs were all there. His wounds gone. Wow, this resurrection ritual had been a successful one. He once bore witness to a flunked one, where the cult tried to revive a member who had been hit by a car. None of his wounds had been healed, and a mercy game ending had to be delivered by him. Bob then knelt down behind you. It was you, wasn't it? Please, no more choking. You begged. Your face was covered in dirt and cobwebs. And without any hesitation, he grabbed the collar of your robe and lifted you up. His face pushed right into yours. It was you, right? You nodded as he began to pat you down. Ah, you did wonderfully, little morsel. He stretched out his arms and made a mighty stretch, followed by a loud belch that smelled like sulfur, almost making you throw up again. But I am mighty hungry right now. I want to test out the limits of my new stomach. Would you like to help me with that? Intimidated, you let Bob follow you to your car. He sat down in the passenger seat. I'm not going to... Sorry. I'm not going to let you eat people, though. He deadpanned. But But, you said quickly as he was already reaching for your throat again. Mama, my sister's boyfriend Kevin works at a candy store. You can have candy. A lot of it. Not like I care about it. Or anything. Bob's eyes narrowed. He knew that candy and Long Pig were the only things soothing the voices in his brain. They didn't soothe your voices, though. That's what the pink candle was for later. That's how you made the voices shut up. For about 10 to 30 minutes at a time. With the undead next to you, you drove to the candy club. After giving Bob some ropes in his size to at least wear something other than bandages. Using the key you had stolen from your sister, you opened the store's back door. You knew that the candy club had only a singular security camera that could be easily disabled by simply turning off the security computer in the backroom office. Really foolish. After unplugging the machine, you let Bob into the building, who immediately stormed past you. You watched as he gobbled down candies, gummy worms, and chocolate bars like they were nothing. Do you think you should eat so, You stopped mid-sentence after Bob gave you a look of pure hunger. His feeding frenzy ended after halving the stock of everything available in the store's main room. Not even bubblegum had been spared. Bob rubbed over his slightly inflated belly. He burped loudly and slapped his naked tummy. That was not as much as I normally gobble down, but good enough. I can get used to this one. He hummed. So, what now? You drove with Bob across town, to various places where he would test out his new organs. A public football field to test out his lung capacity, a 24-hour gas station for some liquor that of course you paid for to test out his new liver, and lastly, chasing you, under threat of disembowelment, through a dark forest, so he could figure out how his new eyes worked, and his new stealth abilities. While you screamed for your life every time you heard him laugh behind you. Of course, Bob wouldn't have turned you into tiny meat cubes for easy consumption. You were the one to revive him, and he was genuinely grateful for that. But that didn't change the fact that he still threatened it. Covered in dirt and bloody scratches, you were lying on the back of your car, heaving. This night had been way too exciting. You wanted nothing more than to get home and have some alone time. And thankfully, Bob listened to your instructions as he drove you home. Yet, the moment your car was parked, and he didn't leave, you raised your sweat-covered head from the seat. Bob? There is one more organ I'd like to test out tonight. He turned around, climbing past the seats, making his way on top of you. His breath smelled of candy as he huffed into your face in hot, quick succession. Your lips quivered, and you blushed hard. Bob licked his lips, his now warm fingers dancing and groping all over your body. Looks like you won't be needing your candle tonight. Hey, thank you for watching my video until the end. If you're new here, I hope you stick around and watch a few more. But before I say goodbye, I'd like to remind you to like the video and subscribe. I also have a Ko-fi and Patreon if you want to support me financially. And I also have a community Discord server. All links are down in the description. Hope you have a good day. Until next time.